Hey everybody, it's Steven
And Respawn.
from Comic Coalition. We're here to do a how to play for Sleep Tight by Moongrel Games, which in our last video I kind of messed some things up. So it's Moongrel Games, Sleep Tight. The game is 14 for 14 plus. It's 1 to 4 players and it takes about 10 to 20 minutes to play through it. So all right. First, let's go ahead and go through the setup. So what you want to do is you want to put out your Sandman cards, your Dreamscape cards, and your action cards. Once you do that, then you want to set each player up. Each player gets 7 cards. So let's try to deal 7 cards out. Of course, I'm going to have to do more. There's 7. 7. All right, each player gets 7 cards. They get 3 soul tokens, or soul fragments as they're called in the game. So 3 soul fragments. And we'll do 3 soul fragments over here. So 3 soul fragments, 3 soul fragments. All right. And then what each player does is they take the 7 cards they were dealt, they look through them, and they decide what cards they want to keep. Now, as we're looking through the cards, this one's not the best one to start with, but as we're looking through the cards, there's some typography on here. There's some images to help us understand the card. This is the type of card it is, right? So this is how many soul fragments it takes, you have to possess, how many soul fragments you have to possess to be able to play the card. And this shows the action of the card. And what this is referring to is that the person to your left, you take 1 soul fragment from. So you look through your cards, you go through them, you're like, what do we got in here? And we're going to say, that's a good one. We're going to keep that one. That one's a good one. We want to keep that one. Let's say we want to keep that one and maybe that one. All right. And we take these and we put them over here. We'll jump through it for the other person. We'll do this one just really quick so we can get through it. We'll take these 2. That one looks really good, so we'll take those. I know we're playing a small kind of area, but it's just so we can show you guys. 2, 3, and there's 4. And then we throw these over here. Then you shuffle the cards that weren't picked back in. So give it a quick shuffle. I know I'm horrible at shuffling. All right. Then you set that back there. And we're about ready to go. All right. So what's going on in this game is your kids, each player's a kid, and you've gone to sleep. When you went to sleep, you ran into the Sandman. You guys all ran into the Sandman. Last video, I called him the Boogeyman. He's the Sandman. I'm sorry, Moongrel Games. So there's the Sandman, and you're trying to get away from the Sandman. That's the whole purpose to the game. And to win the game, there's a couple things that can happen. You can yourself get out of the dream. So you could save yourself, right? So if you happen to come across this card, right, it's the wake up card. Now you have to have 10 soul fragments or more. You can have more, but you have to have 10 or more soul fragments, and you have to play this card, which wakes you up, which takes you out of the dream. Then you're safe. But that also leaves the other kids behind in the dream to fight the Sandman. Now, the other way to win is to beat the Sandman. And how you beat the Sandman is you go through all the Sandman's cards, right? And they all go into the discard pile, and that's how you beat them, right? Is to get rid of all Sandman's cards. And you'll have some cards in here that'll allow you to do that. I think I have one in this hand. See, like this one, this means you would destroy 3 of Sandman's cards, but we'll show that here in a little bit. All right, so the 2 ways to win is to get yourself out of the dream or to kill the Sandman or defeat the Sandman if you want to be more family friendly with it. Now, there are some ways to lose. One way to lose is if you lose all your soul fragments. They all go away, you're dead. You're done, and it's up to the other kids to try to survive. Now, the other way to lose is if this pile runs out. If you have no more of these cards to play, the dream has collapsed on top of you, and you're stuck in the dream with the Sandman. You don't escape. All right. Now, there are some extra things that go on with this. When this card comes up, it's a action card, but if you get this card, you have to deal with it immediately. And what this card is it's called I Am the Sandman. And what it does is Sandman comes directly to you, whoever has this card, and he says, join me or give me a soul fragment. So what happens is you can decide, no, I'm not going to join you, and you give up one of your soul fragments, you get rid of it. Or you can be a little devious and you can say, haha, Mr. Sandman, I will help you. And so if you decide to help the Sandman, you keep this card. You don't show anybody, right? Because you're now saying, yes, I'm going to help you. So if the Sandman wins, then this player who's decide to side themselves with the Sandman can win. All right? So once you take this card, your goal is to get the other kids, take away their soul fragments. You're basically giving them back to the Sandman. You're giving him tribute so he'll let you out of the dream, or so he says, right? So you start playing against the other players, but you can get found out, right? Someone can find out that you're helping the Sandman. They can guess, I don't know, they keep taking soul fragments from me. But also, someone could play this card. Now, this is another action card. So they could draw that action card and they can play it and they can say, whoever's the Sandman, they have to reveal themselves. And if this player has this card, they have to say, you got me, I'm helping the Sandman, right? And now everyone knows you're helping the Sandman, and they can try to get rid of all your soul fragments, which means you're out of the game. Sandman's still in, he's still playing with the kids, but the player who was helping the Sandman is out of the game. So there's some special cards that are in here. So now that we have it all set up, each player's gotten their 7 cards, they've picked the ones they want. You take this first player token, right? And we'll just put it over here. We'll say this is the first player. I know we're kind of running out a little bit of room, but we're working with what we got here. All right, so this becomes the first player. We're going to say over here. Now, what's going to go on is you take a dreamscape and you give each player a dreamscape. And you start with the first player. So this player gets a dreamscape. Let's see, I can't actually move these up a little bit. Sorry about that. I thought I did this well, but you know. All right. And then this player gets their dreamscape. So the first thing is you look at these dreamscapes and they tell you some stuff. So let's go ahead and grab this one so we can look at it. It gives you the type of dream you're in. This one's shadows. It gives you how many soul fragments you get. There's the soul fragments. And then it has this thing down here. It's a little hard to read, but it has a symbol, which is a card type. Remember I showed you guys card types. And it says ×2. So what that means is if I pull up a card that has that sword, right? Instead of paying the cost that that card tells me, I have to pay 2 times that cost because this is the dreamscape that I'm in right now. So now we got these. As you see on this one, it's a little different. This is to pick up. This is an attack one. This is to pick up, and it's ×2. So if I was trying to play a card with that symbol, I have to remember it takes 2 times the amount shown on the card. All right, let's see. Maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be one in here. No, we're not lucky. All right, we have to pay 2 times the amount of that card to play that card. Now let's go over here. Ooh, throwing cards, mixing cards up. You know how it is. All right. So we go through here. Luckily, we do have that attack one. Now see how this shows that attack symbol? If I want to play this card right now, I have to have 2 times that. I have to have 6. All right. So here we go. So what happens, well, let's move these out to the side a little bit more, just so we have a little room because there's some things we have to do here. Let's move that out a little bit. We'll move these out. I know. Should have thought through this. All right. And move those right there. And we're still the first player over here. All right. So dreamscapes have been put down. I can pick up over here, or this player can pick up 2 soul fragments. So they get 2 more soul fragments, raising their total soul fragments to 5. Now the player over here, they can pick up 1 soul fragment. So we'll get 1 soul fragment for them. Whoops. That'll raise them up to 4 soul fragments. Okay. So this player's got their soul fragments. They're now up to 4 soul fragments. Now, the next thing that happens is we pick what cards we're going to play. So this player, let's say, I'm going to play that card. You put it face down. And then they're going to play, we'll play this card. We would try to play maybe this attack card, but it says 3 on the card, but this tells us times 2. So we'd have to have 6, and we only have 5 soul fragments. So we're not going to play that card. And now this player over here, at the same time you kind of do this player's going through. They're like, what do I have here? And they go, oh man, let's see. I can play this card, right? There's 3 soul fragments. I got 4. And I'd like to play this card, but it adds 2 more. So that'd be a total of 5 soul fragments. And I only have 4, so I can't play this one. Can't play that. Can't play any of these cards. I don't have enough soul fragments to try to play these cards. So the 2 players, they put down their cards. And then at the same time, each player flips over the cards they decide to play. So we have these 2 cards here. And then over here, this player only played 1 card. Now, well, then the next step is you take out the sandman. The sandman arriveth, right? So the sandman comes out, and this is one of his minions. He has a bunch of minions, right? And you'll notice with the sandman, there's some symbols down here, kind of like the symbols on the card. So what happens is the sandman comes out, and he instantly takes a soul fragment from each player. So he's going to take a soul fragment from this player, but this player played this symbol, which means that they're blocking the sandman from taking a soul fragment from him. So they're safe. No soul fragment. This player doesn't have such luck, so the sandman right away takes a soul fragment. Now, you look down at these little symbols, and you have the skull there, and then you have the trees. You can see the tree is darkness. The skull is desolation. You look up on the cards, what dreamscapes are we in? We're not. We're in shadows over here, and we're in cold over there. So we're good. But if one of these symbols matched up here, another soul fragment is taken. So no more soul fragments are taken. Sandman goes away. We'll put him right here. He's got a little discard pile. All right. Sandman goes into the discard pile. And then we resolve some of the things that are here. So this card is kind of interesting. And it tells us we can grab 3 cards. So we can grab 3 cards from here. 1, 2, 3. All right. We flip them over. We have to put 2 cards back. So we look through them and we're like, hey, this one looks really nice. So I'm going to keep that card. I'm going to put these 2 cards back, which you shuffle back into the deck. We'll go like that. Just give it a quick shuffle because we're just trying to get through that. All right. Set that back down. And then we go over here. And so here, this player attacked the sandman for 3. So what happens when you attack the sandman is you take cards away. There's 1 card away, which is nice because that's a scary card. 2 cards away, 3 cards away. All right. Because you remember, one of the ways to win is to take out the Sandman. So once that's done, you take these cards, you put them in their own little discard pile over here. First player switches to the next player. You set up new dreamscapes. So this is the first player, so they get the first dreamscape, like that. Then this player gets the next dreamscape, like that. I always kind of really like the art in that one. All right, and then you do the same thing once again. So you got the 2, okay, this one gets the 2. And then this one has the 1 soul fragment. So you get 1 soul fragment. You both get a card from the deck. There's 1 card. There's 1 card. And then you go back through and you pick your cards. You put down what you're going to play. And then Sandman comes out and you resolve everything. So one thing I will point out, there is a card in the Sandman deck that can come out and it looks like this. So what this is saying is all players can't pull a card from the action deck, right? They can't use a card. So what it's saying is all players can't use a draw card. That's the can't use. So what it means is if we rewind, bleep, 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 right? And this player had that card, right? And they were going to draw their 3 cards and pick and get rid of 2. This card dictates that, or says that you can't do that. So it rendered this card useless. So it'd make this card where I couldn't pull these cards, or the player couldn't pull 3 cards and pick one. So there's a kind of special card in there. And that is basically how you run through the game. The one thing I will say, I kind of skipped it in the beginning, is this is set up for a 2-player. If you're going to play with 3 players or more, so 3 or 4 players, you add 2 of these, that card I was just talking about. There are already a couple in the deck, but if you're playing 3 or more, it tells you down here in the corner, you add these in the beginning, you leave them in there. If you're only playing 2, you take those out. So that's 3 or 4 because it's a 4-player game. If you're specifically playing 4-player games, you play this card. You add these 2 cards to the Sandman deck, right? These are Sandman cards. And this one, what this one says, this one's a little wicked. So let's rewind for a second. Let's pretend like that little wicked Sandman card comes out. And there are versions of it in the deck, so we can go in here. Let's go like that. Let's take this one instead of the 4-player one so we don't confuse anybody. All right. What that means is, let's put our cards out that we played before. So this person played those 2. This person played this one. What that means is that the Sandman, none of the cards work. So you can't attack the Sandman. You can't block from it. You can't draw cards. And he also steals from you soul fragments up to the amount of cards you've played. Now, this side, there are 2, and this other card is 0, right? There's no soul fragments on there. So 2 soul fragments would be taken from this player, taken away. It's pretty wicked. Over here, they paid 3 soul fragments to play this. They don't get to play that card, and the Sandman gets to consume 3 of their soul fragments. He gets to eat up all 3 of these, and he takes those. Right? So that's a pretty wicked card. But there is a card, or a couple of them, in the action deck that can block that. So it's kind of tricky. You don't know when this card's going to come up, but you can block it, and that's what that symbol is. It means it blocks his action. So if this card had been played, this card would be nulled. So it wouldn't play, but what goes on, and then it would go over here. You would discard it. So that's kind of how that one goes. It's kind of a scary one that you can get in. You can come across, right? If that one happens, because it can take a lot of your soul fragments. And that's basically how the game plays. That's how the turns go through. So each turn, you give each player a dreamscape, starting with the first player and then going to your left. Then players collect up their fragments based on that dreamscape. They each get a card. And one other thing I kind of forgot about that is you can get rid of a soul fragment to draw an extra card. So you got one card, you can get rid of a soul fragment, right? And you can draw an extra card and add it to your deck. You can do it up to as many soul fragments are in that dreamscape. So this one has 2, so I can get rid of 2 soul fragments and get 2 extra cards, which helps me. On this dreamscape, there's only one. Let's throw a couple down here so this person doesn't die. There's only one, right? So they can get rid of 1 soul fragment and draw 1 card. Now, if the player only has 1 soul fragment, they cannot get rid of it to get a card because that would kill you, right? So that's basically how you play through it. The dreamscape also has a couple extra cards, right? The +3, so if you have 3 or 4 players. They have limbo. In limbo, the basic thing about limbo is the sandman will never come to limbo. He'll never have that symbol, so you're safe if you land in limbo. And there's the 4-player, all the same art. So that's basically how you play Moongrel games Sleep Tight. Thank you for stopping by. Comment, let us know what you think. Let us know how the video works too. And you guys can pick on us too, that's fine. Thumbs up help, likes help, and subscribing helps. And we'll keep putting videos out like this, getting stuff, doing some how to plays. We will be doing a playthrough, and we'll get that video up as well. So thank you for stopping by.